What if your hips didn't forget how to move? What if you did? Just 10 minutes on the floor could quietly restore mobility you thought was gone for good. Hear her full story, only on The Art of Aging.
Senior wellness tips rarely mention the floor, but an 82-year-old woman I know found more hip mobility down there than any chair ever gave her in a decade. And once you understand why, you may never look at your favorite armchair the same way again. I'll call her Ruth, 82 years old, sharp as anyone half her age, the kind of woman who still did the newspaper crossword in pen because erasers, she said, were for people who doubted themselves. But for the last decade, without ever quite deciding to, she'd started measuring her days by how many times she had to get up and sit down. Getting off the couch had become an event, both hands braced on the armrest, a breath held in preparation, a small grunt she pretended not to make and hoped no one had heard. It hadn't happened all at once. Ruth could point to no single injury, no fall, no diagnosis that explained it. Her hips had simply grown stiff, the way a hinge rusts from disuse, rather than damage. Slowly, silently, through 1,000 ordinary days of sitting in the same 3 or 4 chairs, the same car seat, the same pew at church every Sunday. She hadn't broken anything. She had simply, gradually, stopped asking her hips to do very much. And her hips, being obedient in the way bodies are, had believed her. They had quietly stopped offering what she never asked for. Her granddaughter, home from college for the summer, changed something in the house without meaning to. The girl did her reading and her laptop work sprawled across the living room floor, cross-legged 1 hour, side-sitting the next, knees tucked beneath her, shifting from position to position every few minutes without a single conscious thought. The careless fluency of a body that had never learned to doubt the floor. Ruth would watch her from the couch sometimes, half amused, half, though she wouldn't have used this word herself, envious. One evening in early June, with the television murmuring something neither of them was really watching, Ruth did something she hadn't done in years. She lowered herself down onto the floor beside her granddaughter. Slowly, carefully, one hand on the couch cushion, the other reaching for the coffee table, her whole body negotiating the descent the way you'd carry something fragile down an unfamiliar staircase. She wasn't graceful about it. She said later it felt less like sitting and more like controlled falling. But she made it down, and she sat there, side-sitting, one hip on the rug, legs folded to the side, the way she used to sit as a girl on her mother's kitchen floor, waiting for cookies to cool on the counter above her. She stayed there for 10 minutes. Her granddaughter didn't make a thing of it, just kept reading, occasionally glancing over. When Ruth finally moved to get up, it took some doing. A slow roll onto her hands and knees, a pause, a careful rise using the couch for support. But once she was standing, she noticed something. Not that anything had healed, not that any pain was gone, just that something felt different, looser somehow, in a way she couldn't quite name. Here's the honest truth behind what Ruth felt. Chairs, for all their comfort, ask almost nothing of your hips. A chair holds you at one fixed angle, roughly 90 degrees at the hip, for hours at a stretch. In the car, at the desk, at the dinner table, in front of the television. That's the only range most modern adults ask their hips to move through, day after day, year after year. Meanwhile, the hip joint is actually built for an enormous range of motion. Deep flexion for sitting cross-legged on the ground, external rotation for side-sitting, extension for kneeling. The kind of movement variety that was simply built into daily life for most of human history, when floors, not furniture, were where people gathered, cooked, and rested. Over years of sitting exclusively in chairs, especially in a modern, mostly seated life, that fuller range simply stops being visited, and joints, much like relationships, tend to weaken more from neglect than from age itself. The cartilage lining a joint, along with the connective tissue surrounding it, relies partly on regular movement through a full range to stay properly nourished. Synovial fluid, which lubricates and feeds the joint, circulates more effectively when a joint moves through its complete range rather than staying locked in one narrow position for years at a time. A hip that only ever bends to 90 degrees doesn't break down exactly. It simply gradually forgets it was ever capable of more. The muscles around it shorten to match the limited range they're actually asked to perform. The connective tissue stiffens along the same lines. The body, remarkably efficient, stops maintaining capacity it never sees used. Getting down onto the floor and moving between a few different seated positions, sometimes called floor sitting or simply floor mobility work, asks the hips to work through ranges a chair never demands of them. It's not about achieving some perfect magazine cover cross-legged pose. Nobody needs to sit like a yoga instructor. It's simply about visiting the floor safely and regularly and reintroducing the hips to movements they still remember underneath all that disuse, how to perform. If you want to try this, safety and support come first, always. Start seated on something stable nearby, the edge of a couch or a sturdy chair, so you have something solid to hold on to during both the descent and the return to standing. Lower yourself with control, using your hands and the nearby furniture to manage your own weight, rather than letting your knees absorb a sudden drop. This isn't about speed. It's about a slow, controlled transition. Even 2 or 3 minutes on the floor counts, especially at first. Once seated, gently shift between a few comfortable positions if you're able. Side sitting with your legs folded to one side, knees bent in front of you with feet flat on the floor, or legs stretched out long in front of you. There's no need to force any position that causes pain. Simply moving between whatever range is currently comfortable is the point. Over several weeks, gradually build toward 10 minutes on the floor, ideally a few times a week, rather than as a rare, occasional event. If getting down to the floor, or just as importantly, getting back up from it, currently feels unsafe or unsteady, this is genuinely one of those areas where working alongside a physical therapist first is worth the investment. They can help build the specific strength and confidence needed to do this safely, rather than risking a fall while trying to regain mobility on your own. What actually stayed with me about Ruth's story wasn't the mobility itself. It was something she said to her granddaughter a few weeks later, after floor sitting had quietly become a small evening habit between them. She said, almost offhandedly, while lowering herself down onto the rug, "I forgot I used to be able to do this." Not couldn't. Forgot. That distinction matters more than it might seem. So much of what we call aging isn't actually the body failing outright. It's the world around us quietly narrowing what we ask of that body, year after year, chair after chair, until the narrowing itself gets mistaken for decline. Nobody told Ruth's hips to stop moving through their full range. Nobody diagnosed her with anything. Life simply arranged itself, the way modern life tends to, around furniture that asks less and less of an aging body, until the body, quietly agreeable, stopped offering what was never requested. Ruth didn't need new hips. She needed, in a strange way, permission. Permission to get down on a rug beside her granddaughter and ask her old joints a question they hadn't been asked in years. Can you still do this? And slowly, imperfectly, with some effort and some negotiation, and more than a little help from the couch cushion, they answered. Not with the fluency of a 20-year-old, but with enough of an answer to matter. Enough to make Ruth wonder, quietly, what else she might have simply forgotten to ask of herself. 10 minutes on the floor, built up gradually, a few times a week, with sturdy furniture nearby for support, getting down and back up. Moving between a few simple seated positions, side sitting, knees bent, legs stretched long. It won't happen overnight, and it isn't right for everyone without guidance. But it may quietly widen a range of motion that the modern chair has spent decades slowly narrowing, one comfortable, forgettable day at a time. This is one woman's story and general information, not medical advice. Getting up and down from the floor carries real fall risk for some older adults. Please consult your doctor or a physical therapist before starting, especially if you have balance concerns, joint conditions, or a history of falls. Share this with someone who's stopped asking their body questions it can still answer. Follow Art of Aging podcast for the next story.